Okay, let's see. Okay, can you hear me clearly? Awesome. Super. Well, thanks so much for joining, everyone who's come in person and online. A great pleasure to have you today, and also to chat to you guys a little bit of what Hatch has been doing, and I'll talk about our incubator space. So I just want to share a quick fact, maybe that you guys are aware of or not, but very interesting for local Americans. Did you guys know that for every pound of seafood we eat, we consume almost 12 pounds of terrestrial meats? Right? And so for in total, we consume over 220 pounds of terrestrial meats every year, on average for Americans. Okay, how insane is that?
I wonder if Hawaii's different, Dylan.
Probably more seafood. So this is average data from USDA.
Crazy.
All right. So the issue is I think the point and story I'm trying to bring across here is that we eat so much terrestrial meats and like chicken and beef and stuff. Surely we can increase seafood production to replace some of that shelf space in the market. So we're not necessarily producing seafood to compete with wild seafood or to compete with each other, regardless of species. I think we're really just competing against eating chicken and pork and beef. It's astounding how much other meat we consume versus seafood. So I thought that was an interesting fact to bring about if some of you're not aware yet. Okay, I will continue. So Hatch is essentially, we're primarily a venture capital group that is dedicated to fostering innovation in the global aquaculture industry, and we do that to essentially, cultivate more better, responsible seafood, and hopefully that has a impact on our oceans. We to date have invested in 37 companies across 4 accelerator programs, and those companies have gone on to raise an additional $110 million, of which is $9 million is grant money. And we have also hosted 10 innovation studios across over 100 companies across the last 2 years, and 40% of our portfolio is women-led. Just in a nutshell, Hatch is 4 business units. We have a programs unit, a consultancy unit, which is innovation services. We have the Blue Revolution Fund, which is targeted at investing in slightly later stage companies. And then our fish site is essentially our publishing and news media agency, which each business unit here that you see has its own independent team, but with there's obviously cross-pollination and collaboration between these 4 business units. In terms of geographically, our offices are here in Hawaii, which is our headquarters for the program business unit, and then we have our innovation services consultancy unit, which is based out of Norway, and then our back-end office is based in Ireland, and our Asian offices in Singapore. We started with just 3 founders, and then I joined the company in early 2018, and now we're about 29 full-time staff around the world. So how we make an impact in the industry, we primarily invest in companies and we push companies through a funnel so that eventually they become strong, successful, big companies that can, feed the world essentially. If you look here at these venture stages, early stage companies, start off at the R&D stage, then they go through the startup stage, hopefully hit the takeoff stage, and then, on a rare occasion, it can maybe IPO or grow to a very, very big company. So how Hatch supports the industry across these cycles or these venture stages. We have three different avenues. We have the Aquaculture Incubator, which is based in Hawaii. We have the Accelerator, which is a global program, but makes investments at slightly later than the R&D stage. And then we have the Blue Revolution Fund, which makes slightly larger tickets. So in the incubator, there's no upfront cost or investment. However, there are some raw material and raw costs involved in the incubator, but it's not, it doesn't cost the companies too much money to join the incubator. And then we have the Accelerator, which offers tickets between 150 and 300,000 K. And then the Blue Revolution, the tickets are $5 million per company. So the things that we really look to invest in essentially are a few different niche sectors or niche services in the industry. Is next generation aquaculture. This essentially novel production solutions or technologies or methodologies or systems that are new and essentially not generic aquaculture production. Then we have a regenerative aquaculture nutrition. This covers new ingredients or any nutrition related technologies. Enabling technologies, this would be software and hardware. Health and genetics, this would cover the vaccines or any genetic solutions. Value chain would cover logistics, traceability, supply chain, and trading. Alternative seafood would be, cell-based and plant-based seafood. And then we have marine biotech, which also fits into the nutraceuticals, and blue carbon, which is around the seaweed space. Any questions at this point? Okay. Just a quick overview of how Hatch programs work. We have three different pillars. One is the incubator, two is the regional studios, and then the last pillar is the global accelerator. But today I will focus on the incubator for Hawaii. This is actually an open platform. There's no structured program, but it's a platform where companies can join on a rolling basis. They don't necessarily have to have revenue or a company to join in the beginning, but they would need to incorporate a company during, before, or after joining the incubator. It's this platform here that we've, with our office space outside here, where folks can use the office space free and use the resource facilities that surround the office and the host park on a case-by-case basis, whether there's beneficial and collaborative approaches with the local entities here. And then, of course, those companies that would join the incubator, they would get ad hoc mentorship and support through our industry network. Okay, and then the studio programs are regional. They are focused in other regions, but Hawaiians are also welcome to apply to those studio programs. They are not essentially a long program. They're very short, classroom-based 2-week programs, essentially where you would just sit in one office or one classroom with 10 other companies or 8 other companies and discuss your business models and plans together. And you would also get coaching, but there's no investment here in the studio programs. And those are generally funded by government institutions or sponsored by corporate entities. Can I just see this? Sorry, this. Okay, and then the Accelerator is a much more intensive program, which runs between 13 and 15 weeks, and it's a globally structured program where we take companies around the world between our different offices and aquaculture regions to meet with customers and partners and investors. Happy to answer any more questions about this another time, but on our website, there's a link to a deck which you can download that tells you much more about the global the accelerator. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and just if anyone has questions at this point.
Is Hatch self-sufficient at this point?
We have our own funding, yeah. I mean, we've got funds to, you know, we're a profitable company. That's what you mean.
So you're not grant dependent?
No, we don't. I mean, you know, NELHA has given us a grant. I'm not, Greg, can you?
Yeah, they have a $1.8 million grant in Economic Development Administration, US, for the next 4 years to cover the next 4 years. But that's just for the accelerator program. There are other entities. I don't know about those. I think the investor services, they charge for that. There's no grant related to that. And what's the fourth one?
Blue Revolution Fund.
Blue Revolution Fund is private sector investment. The state just invested $5 million in Hatch Fund 2,
which is for the accelerator. Yeah.
So the first one we invested $1.8 million of $8.4 million. Hatch Fund 1, and Hatch Fund 2 is currently at 10, but they're trying to get to 15.
Super. That answer your questions?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. It's a lot of hard work.
Do you have companies in the incubator portion now?
No, unfortunately, not yet. The application process is open, so people can join already. So we're actively looking for participants to join that. We have had some applications where we're still processing them. Yeah, but we hope to have some soon. Hence the talk today to try and spread the word out across the wire. Hopefully we can find some talented individuals or teams to come and use the space. Super. Okay. So, I mean, those of you who are not from online, at least haven't visited NELHA. This platform that the incubator is essentially based on utilizes all the resources at the host park, which is a perfect platform for any early stage company to use as a springboard, where they can tap into the facilities around NELHA and the host park, and hopefully we can attract some university projects that are willing to or hoping to commercialize their technologies, where they can then come here and set up pilot trials using the space available, and then hopefully collaborate and pilot, do some R&D with some of the local entities you see on the map. For those online that haven't been here, I'll just give you a quick overview of some of these companies that are based here. So we have Taylor Shellfish, which is America's largest shellfish company. They have a facility where they produce their seedlings for the mainland operations. So we have Cyanotech, which produces, microalgae. Moana Marine Technologies produce the giant tiger prawn genetic broodstock for the Philippine industry and other parts in Asia. Big Island Abalone, they produce the abalone. And for Hawai'i Oceans and BOM, they produce the Campeche fish, and then SIS produces the NMA broodstock for the Asian shrimp industry and for Latin America. Subrosia produces the Asparagopsis seaweed, and then Oceanera, they do commercial trials for a bunch of different aquaculture species. Pacific Hybrid, they have a shellfish breeding program, and then Ecos Harvest is an ornamental startup. And then, of course, NELHA is the federal entity that manages the estate. Okay. Okay, so just a quick snapshot of some of the species that is growing here. The message here is that, with the water that's pumped from 2,000 feet deep and 200 feet deep, there's varying levels of temperatures and environments that can be created on that host park, and thus can facilitate the growth and expansion of different species to test and trial for the industry. Which of course then hosts a platform for any aquaculture startup to come and test their products on different species or develop a new protocol for different species. So how it works, we will only accept up to 6 teams at a time within the incubator platform. The companies that join the platform, they will get full access to the whole hatch team, not only here in Hawaii, but globally. And then they will also get access to some of the teams and facilities. It essentially is a co-working space, very centric around commercial aquaculture. And we hope that this platform will be a collaborative and multifunctional system where they can build their own R&D systems where the space permits. The members that join the incubator, they can stay up to 12 months. And if they reach the KPIs and preset goals and milestones that are agreed upon between the startup and hatch, then they may be able to stay further on for more than 12 months. And then during the platform and during this time that they are with hatch in the incubator, then they get access to business and legal and design services, coaching and mentoring, access to our investor network around the world, and then some access to our market and industry intelligence platform through the innovation services business unit. So essentially, this platform is ready to help these companies develop and validate the technologies to build their product to reach minimal viable product that then will reach a stage where they could apply and get into the accelerator, which then makes them eligible to receive that first stint of funding. I think this is just about the makerspace and some of the support services and network. I have already mentioned some of these, but the facilities that we intend for the companies to get access to is essentially the office spaces and the labs, some of the R&D spaces, and then of course access to all the water that's available through NELHA. And the workshops to build what they need. I've already mentioned all of this stuff. Okay, and then when the accelerator is running, some of the participants that are based here in Kona, they may also join some of the the accelerator program sessions, but that's still to be determined. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Folks that are eligible for joining the platform are essentially anyone from institutional R&D institutes around the world, and universities, any entrepreneurs or innovators, startups, SMEs or corporates. Again, case by case, depending on their eligibility. But the whole purpose of joining the incubator is to commercialize whatever you are working on. People can't just come into the incubator and then play for 12 months. It's a mission built program where you either need to incorporate your company during a program or at least intend to build a business out of the technology that you're developing. Okay, so this is a quick snapshot of some of the modules that we are able to train and coach within Hatch, across the Hatch team and our mentors and coaches around the world. And we will facilitate sessions in an ad hoc basis when the participants need these sessions. Not the companies don't need to do all the modules, or at least conduct all of these modules, and they can pick and choose as they see fit. But the purpose here is really to go through different models to get to a stage where you're ready to get your product onto the shelf and to raise finance to build your company, and then employ staff, etc. In terms of how to apply this, on our website, there's a link where you can go and click on, and there's a very simple form to fill in. Anyone can apply anytime. We would then go through an interview process, and if you meet the requirements and eligibility criteria, then you would become a member of the platform. You would need to relocate to Kona and sort of set up shop here and occupy the space, and then you would use the months that you need the space to develop your technology, etc. And hopefully get to a stage where we can then invest into your project and then commercialize your technology. So, thank you very much. Questions?
And the relocation here, is that totally on them?
Yeah. We don't fund accommodation or transport. However, we have some plans to solve that problem in the future, but it's not that solution is not in place right now.
So Dylan, people might want to know if there's a path for people to go from the incubator to the accelerator, like
Absolutely.
how do these relate, or if they do relate?
Totally. So if Incubator essentially used as a mechanism to vet the people and product and technology to then reach a point where they become eligible for the accelerator. So the accelerator will only run once a year for a set period, whilst the incubator you can join anytime, and then when their next accelerator is coming up, they can then apply to the accelerator.
So the odds of getting into the accelerator are better
Much
if
better.
you have gone through the incubator program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead and share.
I think Amy has her hand raised.
Yeah.
Okay. Amy, if she can unmute and ask a question, that would be awesome.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Dylan. Good presentation. I've seen Hatch's presentation since 2018, so I like how you guys have updated. My question, On the relocation to the tech park at NELHA, our operations and our technology are utilizing food waste streams that are resident here on Oahu. And it would be it wouldn't be economic to ship those products to the Big Island for us to make use of them. Manufacturing the feedstock that we do there at NELHA. So would you be able to work with our company while we're based here on Oahu? We're incorporated already.
That's a great question. I'm gonna definitely have to come back to you and we can have a separate call on that. I'm sure there can be some flexibility, but the incubator is essentially for companies to occupy the space here and use the facilities. But I think we can come up with a way to support you in some capacity, but all the resources that would be available through the incubator would only be available, if you're on site. But again, we can figure out a way to make some of those resources available.
I appreciate the reply and thank you. I think we'll apply and then try and see if our situation works for you folks. I mean, if it's only for 12 months, I mean, we could facilitate shipping some of the feedstock over to Kona just as a trial run to see what the cost would be and maybe the production and operational costs. So it could be viewed as an experiment to establish operations and maybe a trial run to establish for applying to the accelerator. We might be able to work around that somehow, but thank you for your reply.
Happy to help. Please reach out to me as independently and we can have a separate call on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I've left my email in the chat box if anyone wants to reach out independently after the session. Okay, I think that's it. We're on the minute, so we've not over time. Great, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dylan.
Sure, I'm gonna click stop recording. How do we do that?